Hi, I'm Emma and I'm a jewellery designer from the UK. In this live class powered by FIMO, I'll teach you how to create beautiful jewellery from polymer clay. You'll learn how to create 3 different hoop designs, and by the end of the class, you'll hold your very first self-made jewellery in your hand.
All right, so let's talk about cleaning our work surface. Okay, let's just be honest, it's impossible to remove dust. It's just impossible. You're not going to be able to get away with having at least a little bit of dust in your clay. But there are things that you can do to minimize it. So what I like to do is a couple of things. I use wet wipes to just go over my surface, and then I might go over it with a kitchen towel afterwards. I also like to use these lint rollers as well, just to get any dust off of my hand. And I like to go over my surface as well with it sometimes. Another thing I like to do is I've got this piece of scrap clay here, which I also like to use. And you can just roll that in your hand, that gets rid of any dust. You can also do it on your work surface as well. And also you can be mindful of the clothes that you're wearing as well, depending on what colour. Say you're using white, maybe just wear a lighter colour, you know, to stop those darker dust particles from getting into your clay. So now that we've spoken about cleaning the space, we're going to talk about conditioning. And I'm just going to open this pack of white. And I don't know about you guys, but when I get clay, I tend to just rip it open with no regard. But I recently worked out that there's actually like a little tab here, and you can just open it really nicely like that. And what it does is just preserves the packaging. And what's really awesome is that there's a sticker on the back here that you can also use. I usually just pull it off, and then when I've got any leftover clay, I'll just wrap it back up, peel the sticker off, and just use it to secure it. I'm just going to quickly pull up YouTube so I can see what you're seeing. Okay, so when we're conditioning clay, the reason why we do that is just to get it to a workable state. And we just want to get it kind of nice and soft so it's easy to mold and you know, just so that it's nice and workable. So I'm going to condition by hand, and I'm just going to quickly roll this out. I might chop it in half actually. I feel like I was being a bit too ambitious there. I'm going to chop it in half. And what you don't want to do is you don't want to trap any air in the clay. So try not to be folding and folding. Instead, try to roll, because that will just kind of stop any air from getting into the clay. So I like to roll, fold, and twist. Roll, fold, and twist. And there are other ways that you can do it. You can also pop this in a sandwich bag and then put the sandwich bag in some warm water and just leave it for a few minutes, and that will soften up the clay as well. So that's another way that you can do it. But I was taught when I first started that you know your clay is conditioned well when you can pull it apart and it comes to a point. Which I think is a really cool way of just double checking whether it is conditioned. And thankfully, this clay doesn't take too much work to get conditioned. So now that I've done that, I'm actually just going to roll this out by hand. And here is the reference for the earring that we're going to make. So I'm going to roll this out by hand. And when you're rolling out by hand, the most important thing to remember if you're trying to get a sheet of even thickness is you can use a popsicle stick, you can use pencils. You just need to make sure that they are the same thickness on either side. I'm just using Post-it notes here, and I say that this is about probably about 2 to 3 millimeters thick on either side. So I'm just going to roll this out now. And probably shouldn't have made it that thin. So I'll just do that. Okay, there we go. That's given me a nice surface of clay to work with. I'm just going to pull these out a little bit more. And when you're working with white clay, again, it's so hard to keep the dust out. I mean, this packet has only been open for 2 seconds and already I'm seeing bits on it. Just don't forget to kind of clean your rollers. And you can pick things out. Do you know, earlier today I had loads of dust on the surface of my clay, so I actually was scraping it with my blade, and that's a really great way to get the dust off as well. Now you might get some bubbles, and that's completely normal. I'm just going to pop this one here, just pop them and smooth them over, and that will help you to not get so many bubbles when you're baking. Okay, so when you're at a thickness that you're happy with, I think that looks pretty good. I'm just going to quickly remove these. And what I'm going to do is I'm not going to cut all the way through. This is my 3 centimeter cutter. I'm not going to cut all the way through. I'm simply just going to make an imprint so I know, you know, that's where the earring's going to be. And I'm just going to set this aside for now. And I'll use my blade to pick it up. Sometimes clay can be really, really soft. And I haven't done that very well because it's so extra soft. Okay, so look at that. It's now turned into an oval. When your clay is really, really soft, what you can do is actually leach the clay. And what that does is it just puts it, you can put it in between 2 pieces of paper and leave it for maybe half an hour, and it just kind of extracts the oil out of it. I've just quickly run that through my pasta machine just to save some time, but I'm going to quickly just imprint that again, and I'm just going to set it to the side. Okay, so now we're going to do some color mixing, which I'm really excited about, and we're going to make some pink. So for that we're going to need some white, and I'm just going to quickly run this through my pasta machine just for time's sake. And the most important rule when you're color mixing is that you just want to make sure that every single ingredient is the same thickness. So I rolled these all out on my pasta machine, and they're I think they're 0 thickness. You want to make sure that all your color ingredients are the same thickness, and you want to make sure that you're using the same cutter for all of them. So this recipe is 3 white and 1/4 red. So I'm just going to quickly cut 3 white. I'll just quickly run that through the machine down. And then just do this 3rd white. And we need 1/4 red. So one thing to remember, of course, it depends on how big your project is, but you can always double or triple your recipes depending on, oh, it's a bit shaky, we've got a bit of an earthquake there. You can always double or triple your recipe depending on how much you actually need to make. I'm just going to keep it simple. And I'm just going to cut this into 1/4. Just try and get it as even as you can. And I'm just going to set these, going to set this aside. Ooh, I'll just keep that one there. When you're using a blade, try to aim the blade so it's kind of lightly scratching the surface, because that will help you to keep your clay intact. Okay, so I'm just going to set those aside because we'll use them a bit later, and I'm just going to mix this quickly now. So to mix, we've got our 3 white and our 1/4 red, and I'm simply going to just roll this. This is the quickest way to mix it by hand, is to do exactly the same as we did when we conditioned, is just to roll it into a snake, fold, and twist. So you can see the colours starting to come through here. And you just want to keep doing this for as long as you need to until you get to a really consistent colour. And so just keep going with that, and eventually you should get to this. Now look at all of that dust. Can you see? I think I must have leant on it with my elbow at some point because there is a lot of dust on there. So I'll quickly show you what I was talking about earlier. I just like to scratch off the top layer like that and just add this to my scrap clay piece so it never gets wasted. And then I just run that through the pasta machine and that's nice and clean again. So what we need to do now is I'm just actually what I'm going to do is the second recipe. Let's do the second recipe. The second recipe is orange. That's this one here. And to create that one, you're going to need one yellow. So we'll just quickly make one yellow. We need a quarter red, so we've got that from last time, and we need half white. So I might just steal this piece here. You can see the red from where I didn't clean my knife, so that's always, I'm sorry, my blade. So that's always really great to get into the practice of cleaning your blade as well, just to stop your colours from mixing. Okay, so we need half white. So I'm just going to cut that as evenly as I can. And I'm going to put the one yellow, quarter red and half white together and just roll and do exactly the same thing that I showed you before with the rolling, the folding and the twisting. And eventually we will come to this colour here. So now that we've got our colours mixed, we should get started with the freehand cutting. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, or I kind of need to show you, I guess, but the white part is a lot thicker. I think that's roughly about 2 to 3 millimeters, but the coloured parts are a lot thinner, and I just think it kind of gives it a nice effect. So if you were rolling by hand, you would get your post-it notes and maybe just half them again, and then just go over it and just roll out a piece as flat as you can. I'm going to quickly pass these through my pasta machine on setting, let's go for setting 3, see how that looks. So this is my third setting. And we're going to do some freehand cutting. So what I'm going to do again is I'm just going to make a small imprint on both sides. I'm not cutting all the way through, it's just an imprint, because I find it's a lot easier to be able to kind of get the scale of the shapes that you're making, so you're not making them too big or too small. So I'm going to quickly just cut through these, and if you're not sure what kind of shapes to create, you can always go on Pinterest and have a look, or feel free to just kind of copy what I've done as well. Please don't laugh at my cutting. I'm trying to do this as quickly as I can, but when I made these, I actually took quite a while because I really wanted to create something pretty. So just take your time with it, and just create shapes that you love. So when you're cutting with a knife, you want to make sure that obviously the blade is in the direction that you're cutting, and just take it as slowly as you can. I'm going to attempt to make that heart-shaped one, and we'll see how we go with it. No, that didn't come out too badly. And let's just make some teardrops. I'm just doing random things here at the moment. Sometimes it's fun to just play around and just see what you get. And I'll just do like another straight one. You know, just give yourself like lots of options, because you can play around with where everything goes when you start to place your shapes. So I'm just going to quickly do this one as well. Let's do a squiggle again. Let's do, oh gosh, shall I attempt the this one here? Okay, let's attempt it. I'm actually terrible at creating these ones. The ones with the 3 or 4 different prongs coming out, because they usually look really crazy. Oh, that one didn't come out too badly. Okay. All right, so that, I think that should be enough. I'll just do one more here. All right, lovely. So now that I've cut them out, I'm just going to take these off. Oh, looks like I cut all the way through on this one. And I think I lost one there, so I'll just grab that. And do I lose any here? A little one. Just grab that. Okay, so just put these aside quickly. And we're going to grab our white piece of clay now. And just start to place them really. Oh, I think I just made a little scratch in there. So what I like to do is sometimes they can look a bit untidy from, you know, how you've cut it. If it does, just turn it around, and you know, you might on the other, it might look a bit neater on the other side. And just feel free to like smooth your clay out as well as you're going, just to give it just kind of neaten it up. I'm just going to neaten that up because it had a bit of a random bit there. I'm placing these quite lightly because I will probably move some at some point. I guess I'm just trying to get a feel for where I want everything to go at this point. So I'll just pop that one there. How's everybody doing? I can't even see the chat because I'm not wearing my glasses. Oh, goodness me. Let's see. I'm looking forward to the Q&A at the end. If you do have any questions to ask me, then let me know. Thankfully, we have the moderators to help you with any clay-related questions that you have. So definitely make use of them as well. And don't forget that there's a replay. So if you miss anything, or if you want to just kind of go over things again, I did go through the recipes pretty fast there. You can always go back and just kind of get remember, just see what proportions I mentioned. So I'm just going to keep going. We're almost there. Let's see if I can get this one in. This one's a little bit big, so I might say goodbye to him. Let's try this one here. But I just love how you can kind of play around and just put things in random places. Do you know what? I'm going to put you over here as well, because I actually forgot to say what's really important is to make a hole. So I'm going to make a hole up here. And this is actually from FIMO. They kindly sent this to me. This is actually a bead tool that you use to pierce beads with. And it comes in this packet full of different sizes, which is really cool. So thanks for sending that over. So you want to make your hole, because obviously you don't want to cover your hole with the shape. And you don't need any kind of fancy tools when you're starting out. You can just kind of use what you have around. Okay, I think that's the right shape to go on there. It's a shame that we don't have, should I just cut a tiny shape? Because that bit there is just really bugging me. It's just nothing that I created fits there. So I'm just going to create a tiny hole. Circle rather. All right. Okay, let's say that that's it. I'm now going to just cut through this all the way through. I can't remember if I said this to you guys before, but obviously keeping your clay white, you know, you keep your surface clean, etc. You know, pick bits of dust out if they're really huge. But also don't worry too much. We all get, you know, bits of dust in our clay. You can always use acetone once it's actually baked to just I use 100% acetone and a Q-tip, and I just rub over the hairs, just kind of work the hair out, or the piece of fibre out. So that's a really great way of doing it. Also, don't forget to just kind of smooth things over. The more you smooth things over before you bake, the less you'll have to sand. I don't know about you, but sanding is not my favourite thing. So I prefer to just spend the time smoothing things over and just get it to a place that you're really, really happy with. So I don't know. Oh, there we go. So there we go. That's what I've just created. So now what we do is we would need to bake it. Obviously, I don't have an oven here today because otherwise you'd be here forever. But I'm going to show you how I bake my clay pieces. So I actually use a pizza box or a mailbox sometimes, I think it's an A5 mailing box that I sometimes use to, you know, put my jewellery in and send it off to customers. It just depends on the size of the project, really. So I've got two different size tiles here. If I'm doing a big project and I've got, like, let's say I had, like, you know, loads of these, I probably would use this one here. And I would just pop some paper on top, pop the clay piece on top, like that. But because they're 3D, I wouldn't actually cover this with another ceramic tile. But what I would do is cover it with some paper, because when you cover it with paper, it just stops any discoloring as well. So that's how you can bake this one. If you're using, if you're just doing like maybe 1 or 2 earrings, use a smaller tile and just, you know, cut your paper according to size, or your card according to size. And just, you know, you would just sandwich, well, in this case, actually, you wouldn't sandwich it in between. But if you've got a flat piece, you can pop your piece of paper, clay, paper, tile on top. And what that does is it just helps to stop the bubbles from coming up, and it just helps to keep the clay nice and flat. So now that we've supposedly baked them, what we would come up with, oh, and just to say that this was just 2 pieces of A4 card, a piece of A4 card that I've just cut in the middle just to match the size of my tile a bit better. So obviously we now come to this, and once you've baked it, obviously you're just going to sit there and marvel at the incredible work that you've created, but don't forget to assemble it so that you can actually wear it. So what these are pretty self-explanatory. You just pull it out of the hole. There's the hole from the piece. So I'm just going to pop that in. I hope you can see. And then just pop that back in there. Again, depending on what kind of hoops you have, you may not need this hook here, so don't worry if you don't need it. But for this hook, I'm going to just quickly use a pair of pliers. Sometimes it's easier to use 2, depends on how you feel, really. I'm just going to use a pair of pliers just to open that up, and then just hook that onto the little circle on the end of the hoop. And that little ball always loves to get in the way, so I'm just going to hold that and use the pliers just to close that up again. Okay, so that is it. That's the first pair, all done and ready to wear with your summer outfit, or your spring outfit even. So now we shall go on to the next pair, which is this one here with the fun sandpaper texture. And we're going to create that. We don't need to create some recipes for this one because we're just going to use the recipes that we had before. So I'll just leave that there as a reference. And for this one, I'm actually just going to make them a little bit thicker. So I'm just going to run these through my pasta machine quickly at a setting of 0, which is think it's roughly about 3 millimeters ish. Obviously, and look, I've got some bubbles there, so I'm just pop them and smooth them over. I'm just going to run these through my machine because I want the flowers to be a bit thicker. So I'll just run this through as well. You don't need a pasta machine when you start out at all, you really don't. It does make things a lot quicker, and it does help with stopping as much dust getting in to your clay, but it's really not necessary when you're starting out. I guess it's more something that you would buy if you know you're going to definitely take it up as a hobby or a business. So now that we've done that, the next thing I'm going to do is earlier I just cut some flowers out, drew some flowers out. You can print some on paper and then cut it out. You can find something around your home that you love the shape of and just draw around it. This is really a cool way of like kind of creating your own shapes without having to spend so much on cutters, because they can get expensive. I have an obsession with cutters, but this is a really fun way to just do it yourself and also just to create original designs. And what you can do is once you cut them, you can preserve them so that you can use them again by just putting a bit of sellotape over it so that you can use it again. So I'm just going to quickly cut this out, and I'm going to do it quickly, but I'm going to try to get the definition in the flower because we don't want to lose that. So just going to do that. And if you don't get the definition, like if your cutting is a bit wonky like mine usually is, don't worry, because you can, that's clay is all about being molded and shaped. So you can always kind of correct it once you've cut it out. So I'm just going to cut that one out. And instead of cutting that small one out, here's one I made earlier. Always wanted to say that. So the next thing I'm going to do, would you believe, when we did a test run of this, I actually forgot to do the sandpaper part, which is, to me, the most important part of this whole thing. So I'm really happy that I actually remembered it this time. If I can find my acrylic roller, wherever it's gone, where have you gone? There you are. Right, so this is the sandpaper. This is 120. This is a low grit sandpaper. And I'm just going to pop that over the top and just roll over it and lift that up. I'll try and see if I can show you. Don't know if you'll be able to see the texture in the camera. I'm hoping you can kind of see the texture there. It's just so pretty, and you might get bits of black from the sandpaper, but it's fine. It all adds to the charm of it. So don't worry too much about that. Right, so that's done. Look, there's a pesky hair there. Looks like an eyelash. We'll just ignore it for now. I do not see it. So now what we're going to do is grab our shapes, and again, just use the X-Acto knife to go around. Just cut your shape. Oops, a daisy. Try not to press too hard because you don't want to, you don't want to remove the texture that you've created. Okay, so that one should be fine. And then I'll do the smaller one on here, ignoring the eyelash. That is really frustrating me. There you are, eyelash. You are not wanted here. Don't you just find it, like, the audacity of dust and hairs to get in your clay? Like, how dare you? You are not welcome here. Right, that's that one done. Try and pick that up. And I'm just going to lift these up. I'm just hopping aside for now. Okay, so as you can see, it's not perfect by any means. So just take your time and just kind of smooth it out. Again, the more you smooth it out now, the less you'll have to sand. If you do have to sand though, But sanding can be a lot more complex than what I'm going to explain here. But you can just go over the edges lightly, and this is sanding paper from FIMO, and you can just go around the edges lightly, just kind of getting rid of any little bits that you don't like. But you can also, when I first started, I didn't really get along very well with sandpaper. This is before I got my Dremel. And so what I used to do is get acetone and a Q-tip, and I used to smooth my clay out that way, and it's such a relaxing process, and I just love the way it kind of mattified the clay and also got rid of fingerprints, dust. So that's how I started sanding when I first started using polymer clay. I'm just going to quickly pat these bits down, and some of the edges aren't defined, so we're going to get our stepper pencil, which is actually perfect because it has that hexagonal shape, and I'm just gonna kind of make it a bit more defined. Again, you'll take your time with this, so you'll get something that you absolutely love, but just time-wise, and just trying to do this as quickly as possible for you. So don't laugh at my wonky flower. So now that I've done that, I'm going to quickly grab my 1 centimeter cutter. And this is where the cornstarch comes in. So this is my little cornstarch pot. And why I love cornstarch is that it just makes life so much easier. And to be honest, these cutters, because they're so tiny, it's really easy to just they just pick up everything, and then it's hard to get out. So I'm just going to pop that in the center as central as I can, and on the other one as well. And I actually just want to make this one a little bit more defined, so I'm just going to use my pencil to do that. Okay, so I'm just going to grab these. Oops. And you know what, this time I'll just use a small one because it's just small. We're just doing small bits here. So what I would do again is, this one's flat, although it has a texture on it, it's going to be fine if you place a tile on top of it. It's not going to get rid of the texture. So for this one, I would again obviously cut this down to size before you use it with your smaller tile. In fact, I'm just going to do that now. So tile, paper, and so it's a little bit different in the sense that with this one, because we want it to come out flat, and we don't mind about the texture. I'm just going to put that a bit more central so it doesn't get squashed into the other tile. Pop that piece of paper on, and then simply pop the other tile on. So it's like a little clay sandwich. And then I would just pop that in my pizza box and then put it in the oven. Now, one thing I forgot to mention is well, hardening. We've got to talk about that. That's like one of the most important things, and I can't believe that I forgot to tell you. So FIMO hardens at between 110 and 130 degrees. I personally bake mine at 130 degrees for 30 to 45 minutes. You don't want to go above 130 degrees, just because it bakes best at 100 degrees. Sorry, at 130 degrees. So you don't need to go above that. What you will 100% need is a thermometer. Most ovens don't actually get to the temperature that they say they do. So you'll set it to 130 and it might actually be 120. And what a oven thermometer does is just make sure that it really is at the right temperature. So you want to make sure that your oven is preheated before you put your clay in. Get it to 130, that's my personal preference. And then I would just put it in there for about 30 to 45 minutes. And what that will do is that will help you to just achieve just a nice, flexible, but strong piece of clay. And what you can also do is you can do the bend test. I don't have a piece of clay that oh, maybe I can do it with this. I'm not sure. No, it's a bit too small, but you can do the bend test. And what that is you'll know if it's baked properly if you can bend it with your hand, but it doesn't snap. Obviously, you don't want to bend it, you know, and force it because it will snap. But if you can kind of bend it slightly and it has that flexibility and it kind of springs back into its normal shape, then you've baked it really well. If you are getting any breakage at all, it will be to do with your temperature or your timing. So just make sure that you're really aware of that, and feel free to use a tester as well. And just do a test piece and test it for yourself. I remember when I first started, I underbaked so many, and yeah, it's not fun. So try to bake at the right temperature if you can. So now that I've done that, we've put it in the oven, and then we arrive at this beauty here. So I showed you how to assemble these before, so I won't go through the whole thing with you again, but it's just simply pop these on. And what I love about this is, you can make this really cool and just do like polka dots, all kinds of different shapes, terrazzo. You can do so many different things, and you can make so many different colors and just swap them out, according to your outfit. So that is the second pair. So we're going to come to the last pair now. And what are we going to do? We need to make some color recipes again. So these are our final two color recipes. And for these color recipes, we're going to make a peach, and it's 2 yellow, 1/4 red, and 2 white. So I'm just going to quickly grab, oh yellow, I just dropped a piece of clay on the floor. So it's 2 yellow. Got our 2 yellow there. We'll grab our 1/4 red that we had from earlier, and I'm just going to quickly run this through the pasta machine, and we'll just create 1 white. Bear with me. Okay, I've taken the blades off of my pasta machine. It makes it so much easier to clean. It's incredible. Okay, so what was that we needed? We needed 2 whites. I'm just going to quickly make 2 white. And then again, we just pop them together. Is anyone like me where you have to say the ingredients like 10 times to make sure you've really done it properly? So 2 yellow, 1/4 red, 2 white. It's a bit like when you're leaving the house and you're like, I have turned off the iron. I've definitely turned it off. You have to say it yourself to, to really just get it in your head that you did it. You did it right. So exactly the same as I showed you before. Roll, twist, fold, roll, twist. And you will get to this colour here, which is so pretty. Just get rid of that cornstarch. Absolutely love this colour. It's so pretty. And then what we're going to need to do is just make the last colour, which is nice and simple. That one is 1 white and 1/2 yellow. We're going to be making a yellow. So I'm just going to run this through the pasta machine again. And just do 1 white. And 1/2 yellow. I think we can use the end of that, that's fine. Okay, lovely. Just cut that in half. Oh, that is not a good half. That was a really poor half. Okay, so we got 1/2 and 1 white. And again, mix as we did with the other ones, and you will get to this colour here. So now that we've got our colours, I'm actually just going to grab the other ones as well. And I kind of really love this texture. Originally, I just kept the texture just, plain. But I'm going to use the texture from what we just made before because it's actually really pretty. So I'm going to do that. And for this one, we definitely will need our cornstarch because, yeah, this cutter just really enjoys upsetting me and taking my clay with it. So with the cornstarch, you can just use your finger, and it just really helps the clay to, you know, it helps the clay to not pick up fingerprints, but B, just not get stuck in your cutters as well. I sometimes just like to use a brush, just find it a bit quicker. Kind of looks a bit messier though, doesn't it? And just add that to all of them. Okay, and then I also like to just really, because I just don't trust this cutter at all, I'm just going to also dip it in here as well. And I've dipped it in so much that it's full of cornstarch now, so bear with me. That's me trying to do things quickly, but I've actually just made a mess. So I think for this earring here, I think 8's a good number, 8 of these on each side. So, and obviously we'll double that for both sides. So 4 of these. If you do get your clay like this, if you do get your clay stuck in a cutter, it depends on how big it is. With some cutters, if you've got a big one, you can kind of push it out with your finger or possibly with an X-Acto knife. I tend to just redo it because I find whenever I try to get it out, it just in some way just distorts, and unfortunately that's the perfectionist in me. But we don't need perfection. Perfection is not, you know, it's not necessary. Just need to do our best. And look, it's happened again. So I'm just gonna take that out. That one's actually okay, so I'll just leave that one. That eyelash there is just taunting me. You probably can't even see it, but it's just really taunting me. Okay, so now we've cut them out, and I'm just going to grab my, where are you, little tool? Okay, well, I can't find it. Oh, there it is. Got it, found it. My little tool, and I'm just going to make some holes. So just try and get them as central as you can. Do this one here. Just take your time with it. And just go through all of them one by one. Try and make the hole big enough as well to get onto your hoop. So just double check what your the hoop thickness is, just to make sure that your hole is big enough so you're not struggling to get them on. And so now I've done all my holes. Just going to quickly pop these off. Okay, lovely. And what I would now do again is just, let me just grab this, grab my tiny tile, because my work is tiny. Let's get rid of them. And don't worry if you, I mean, you can blow the cornstarch off if you need to, but if you bake it with the cornstarch on, it's fine. It'll come off once it's baked. So don't worry too much about that. Now, usually, if I was on my own, I'd line these up perfectly so they look pretty going into the oven, even though only I can see it. It's kind of pointless, but I would line them up all perfectly. And then I would grab the other piece of paper, which I'll do in just a second. Come on. Obviously you want to spread them out a little bit so they don't stick together. Grab my piece of paper, ta-da, and pop my tile over. Put that in my pizza box, pop it in the oven. That should be already preheated to 130 degrees in my case. So that is how you make that. And once they come out of the oven, you'll have these little bits here. And it's just simply a case of popping them all on. And let's try and alternate these. to make it a bit prettier. I need to slow down. I'm trying to do this quickly for you guys, but actually all I'm doing is making life harder for myself. So I'm just gonna slow down, try and get these on. Okay. Oh, we're almost there. What one should I do next? Let's just do this one. And lastly, okay, it is a bit fiddly because there's so much on the hoop, but you can just, you know, move them aside and just pop them back into the hole there. You might have to press a bit hard. This one, I think, because I've opened it so many times, I've lost the shape of it. But this is what you should end up with. Here, our multicolored, perfect for spring and summer hoop, ready to wear and look gorgeous in. So that is all of the earrings. I can't believe how quickly that's just gone. That is all of the earrings. So I'm just going to quickly move my camera back onto me so I can have a quick chat with you as we end the stream. Bear with me. Hi everyone. Thank you so much for sticking with me and through all the technical issues. Thank you so much. It's been so awesome to spend time with you. I just want to, thank you and the FIMO team for putting this workshop together and for you guys for being here. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I've enjoyed it. And we've got just enough time for a quick Q&A session. So if you have anything that you personally want to ask me, just drop your questions in the chat and I will go through them. Whilst I'm waiting for the questions to come in, I'm just going to give you a quick reminder that there is going to be a replay. So don't worry if it went too fast or, you know, if you missed anything, just have a look in your emails. I think it's going to be sent today. Just keep a lookout for them. Also, don't forget to check out www.stetler.com. They've got some awesome polymer clay projects on there that you can follow and lots of tips and tricks on there as well. So definitely check that out. Let's see. Oh, and there's also free color recipes on there. I've collabed with them and created some free color recipes for you guys. So definitely check them out as well. Don't forget to check us out on IG and feel free to tag us in your amazing creations. We would love to see what you create. Just search FIMO Stetler on IG and Polymer Clay Loves on IG. That's loves with an S on the end. And yeah, DM us, tag us. If you've got any questions, feel free to drop in. We'd love to love to help you. So I just got distracted by the chat there. Okay, so let's see if we have any questions. I'm just going to quickly grab my laptop here and just quickly see. I'm so glad you guys enjoyed it. See, for an 11-year-old YouTube channel, what ideas do you recommend making? Oh, that's a good question. I'm assuming, is it jewelry that your 11-year-old wants to make? I would say kind of just like whatever she or he gravitates towards. I would say definitely look at Pinterest because there's so much inspiration on there, and maybe just try out some things that you see on there. Polymer clay is so popular at the moment, so you're always going to find people that just love to watch the content. So just really enjoy it and feel free with it, and don't overthink it too much, because I always find that when you're making something you love, that's when, you know, you find your people and that they'll, you know, follow you and just enjoy what you're creating. Let's see if there's any other questions. How do you come up with your... Oh, okay, color recipes. So when I first decided that I wanted to do color recipes, I actually learned color theory. I learned color theory before I did anything else, and just basically learned how to combine the primary colors to create other colors. So definitely, if you want to create your own polymer clay recipes, just get familiar with color theory. There's loads of
there's loads of information online about colour theory and using the, you know, red, blue and yellow and white, and you can use black as well to create your colours. So definitely check that out. Let's have a look. Let's see. I'm so glad you guys enjoyed the workshop. I'm just going through your messages quickly now. Can you use the rest of the clay if you use cornstarch? Yes, of course you can. You can actually just dust it off or blow it off. It's okay if there's a bit left. It's not a big deal. You can just kind of roll it again, put it through your pressing machine, roll it by hand, and it's absolutely fine to reuse. That's not a problem. Just having a look at see if there's any other questions. Is a normal baking tray fine, or are tiles, or I think the moderator might have already answered that one, so that's fine. How do you clean all the tools and cutters? So you can use, well, if you bought cutters, then the best thing to do is just to wash them with some warm water or a baby wipe or something like that. It's better not to put any kind of like chemicals on it because I think it can erode the plastic. But with my other tools, I'll either just use, again, a wet wipe, or if it's a really pesky bit of clay that won't come off, then I'll use some acetone, 100% acetone, to get rid of it. And I'll just quickly show you the one that I use, if I can find it. No, it's not here because I did my nails today and it's in the other room. But I think it's called, I want to say Maya, but if you drop in my DMs at the end, I'll be happy to give you the link to the acetone. Thanks for the ideas, Emma. I'm the 11-year-old who took. Oh, that's awesome. Okay. Oh, can I put my Insta name? Oh, thank you for doing that, Caro. Thank you so much. Okay, awesome. So yeah, definitely check us out. Check out FIMO. Check out FIMO Stetler. Check out me as well. Polymer Clay Loves on IG. Yeah, I'd love to see you. We've got an amazing community of makers. But they're so helpful and so lovely, and it's just a really cool place to kind of get to know other people as well. So I think that's all the questions for now. Oh, I think I've just seen one more. Yes, you can watch it back. Don't worry, it's, you know, the replay will be available. So that's it for now. I just want to thank you again for joining us. Thank you so much for being here, for sticking through all of the technical issues. And, you know, I really hope to be able to do this again with you guys. It's been awesome to hang out with you. Thank you so much. Take care.